In this video, we are going to take a look through how we equipped our Land Rover Discovery 3 for use as an Overland family camper with 4 people aboard and a dog in Ireland. To understand our design though, you first have to understand a little about what type of travel and camping we do. To understand this, let's take a look back at our wild camp locations of 2021. I'm not a hardcore overlander by any means, nor have I any great deal of experience in this field. I'm in relative terms just what you might call a beginner overlander. If you've got this far, I'm guessing that you are too. So maybe what worked for us may well work for you. I can tell you of our build that it was straightforward. We only bought what we would use. We bought gear to last, but at relatively low cost. Aside from the tent, it was mostly fitted out with what bits and pieces we found in the shed during lockdown, but it did work, and it worked well. We are changing very little for this year's upcoming adventures. To describe our type of overlanding, we coin the phrase network camping. This is the idea of trying to find new wild camp locations simply by asking among your own network of friends. For us, this was a great success, and against a backdrop of ever fewer wild camp locations in populated countries like Ireland, we hope this idea may be useful to others too. In this type of camping, a short-term stay is preferable by default. Therefore, a rooftop tent is suitable. Being effectively tethered to your camping spot by a rooftop tent might otherwise be an issue, but it worked for us. We often used unprepared ground or uneven areas, and this setup works well in this arena. What is the most important off-road ability your vehicle must have? The ability to get you there alive. Have a look at this sequence of soft off-road driving interspersed with events recorded on my dashcam over the last 8 years of owning this Discovery 3. In how I use my 4x4, off-road ability is important, but not paramount. I believe the Discovery 3 or 4 is the best balance you can buy at this price point. The reality is that outstanding off-road ability alone is not enough. It only makes sense to have modern road safety on board for what will inevitably be the greater distance of your journey.
You scared?
Yeah. This vehicle both grew up with us and stayed childish with us.
Quickly! There's a ginormous boilerhead! That means hit on the gas!
You ready for this?
No!
Are you ready for this?
No!
Get wet, Tom. Alright, okay, Tom, go.
Now you may have noticed the Discovery 3 does not sound like that. That's my brother's V8. Well, V6 was as close as I could muster. And it's not a bad soundtrack to our wild tracks. Some of you will understand and some of you won't. But there is such a thing as the motoring musical ear. It's okay to be V8, V6, straight 6, even 5 or 3, but the old 4-pot bag of spanners ain't got no rhythm. I suppose none of this matters. We'll silence the rhythm and we'll all be electric before long. Personally, I wish I could afford to save that much. The standard air suspension facilitates load levelling with a rear cargo rack and also vehicle levelling at camp. All we did with the running gear is upgrade to Goodyear Wrangler Duratrack tyres. These tyres on our vehicle are now 3 years old and have 30,000 miles up already. They are still in great shape. We also fitted a Trackside Discovery 3 dual battery kit and an Optima yellow top battery into the pre-existing fitment area built into the engine bay. This house battery powers 2 outlets in the boot area and powers our fridge. A Nokia 220-watt solar panel folds out in camp and can charge the house battery directly. This panel will stay ahead of fridge consumption. An ARB 56-litre fridge is run by the house battery and will run for a couple of days after parking up or indefinitely on solar. A small mobile compressor is also used to adjust tyre pressure according to terrain. The dog had to be moved out of the boot to make room, so one second row seat was simply folded down with a board fitted above it to extend the surface area for her out across the footwell. The underbody was also treated with the Dinitrol rust prevention system before running it on the beach. We always freshwater wash it also. We did not use a drawer system. They are very useful and convenient, but not so much if your vehicle has to fulfill other roles outside in camping, and it then just becomes more gear to unbolt and remove. A simple shelf measured to fit our wolf boxes securely is used instead. The shelf sits snugly between the existing vehicle interior panels, but can also secure to the forward cargo points. In addition, it can easily be lifted for access and also removed as a table. A standard luggage barrier load separator is also fitted to prevent cargo sliding forward onto passengers. Despite the high miles on this Land Rover, she has always received the very best in servicing, and it has been reliable in return.
I'm doing the right way, Dad.
Yeah.
A BuzzRack 4-bike rack was inverted and fitted with a floor. This serves as a carrier for the Thetford 365 porta potty, camp chairs, fuel and MaxTrack. Other tow ball mounted racks are available, but I wanted it to be tippable for tailgate access, so I converted my existing bike rack in this way. I also had to raise a tow bar to raise the departure angle of the rack for off-road travel. This rack can carry 75 kilograms of cargo with a low centre of gravity on the vehicle. In particular, with a self-levelling suspension of this vehicle, this option works well. For the type of travel we do, which is often as guests of our network of friends or their relatives, porta potty seems like the least we can do in reassuring people that whatever we bring in with us will also be leaving with us. In family camping, it is also a great creature comfort for any midnight emergencies that may arise. There are certain things that trigger responses that are deeply embedded in tens of thousands of years of genetic memory. The howl of a wolf, the shape of a powerful horse, the great outdoors, the smell of fresh cut hay, the company of a dog, the smell of wood as you work it, and of course, more than anything, fire. It is unfair to leave a scorched fire pit in the ground wherever you camp. The drift of fire pit that we use is designed not to damage the grass beneath it, and so you leave no trace. Nothing else has affected the shape of our evolution as much as fire. And when you sit around a campfire with your children, nothing could be more obvious. Our fire pit has been the heart of every camp, and whichever one you choose one. We also used a standard camping stove, but my favourite easy life camping gadget has been this little Omnia stovetop oven, perfect for the lazy chef. If you're not born that way, putting your home on your back takes a little thought. The fundamental point of how we fitted ours is that we did not use a roof rack. The weight of the 1.8 metre Howling Moon Stargazer tent that we use is already at the design limit for the vehicle. A roof rack adds a further 30 kilograms of excess weight at high level. It takes a bit of fiddling around, but we made up some brackets and bolted it straight onto 4 original Land Rover roof bars placed on extended Discovery 4 roof rails, which we had already fitted for carrying a canoe. To do this, we had to adjust the width of the factory-fitted tent rails on the tent, but this was an easy matter as this tent has a solid structure in its base.
The disadvantages of this setup is the time it takes to mount or remove the tent. It takes little time. The tent can be used either with or without the annex, but we find it very useful for privacy and a little extra shelter. One piece of Ireland-specific advice I can offer: get bigger tent pegs.
Flat Dog UK supplied our tent, annex and awning. They also supplied these brackets which allowed the 1.9 metre side awning to be easily fitted. In summary, in terms of pros and cons, here are my thoughts. The main pro is time saved erecting the tent on site. The main con is time spent mounting the tent before you leave home. I also love the comfort these tents afford you. A large flat mattress, sleeping high above the sand or mud or dust and tall grass, a little above the bugs is nice too. Above all though, waking up to the views with that little bit of elevation that this arrangement affords you is very special. Overall, for our type of camping, which is relatively short stay and then moving on, I would not change this setup. I love modes of travel whose potential for greater things inspires you towards greater adventures, even while your adventures are still small. Dreams are for dreaming, and I find I dream a lot about future adventures out here.
Let's build our dream home and buy a speedboat. Let's sell it all for a tiny airstream on the coast. See what matters most. Let's get a little wild, drive all night 1,000 miles, hit every lotto along the way. A man shakes our hand 'cause we win. Boo!